Hi, everyone. Today's webinar, I'm going to talk about the surprising superpowers of effective PMs. If you search on Google, how to be a good product manager, the top results are likely to be a Harvard Business Review article called What It Takes to Become a Great Product Manager, and the Medium post, 10 Traits of Good Product Managers. In both articles, empathy or emotional intelligence is listed as one of the most important ability to have, and is what separates the best PMs from the good ones. Empathy is the most highlighted trait in the Medium post. This is the superpower I'm referring to in the webinar's title. Yet surprisingly, there aren't that many talks dedicated to this topic relative to the more technical ones. My name is Benny. I currently lead EPD team for HelloWorks at Dropbox. HelloWorks provides the most mobile-friendly e-signature solution, ideal for filling out government forms such as W-9 you're seeing here on mobile devices. It helps companies onboard a large number of employees or clients with ease. I will use HelloWorks as an example in many topics here in this webinar. The agenda for today is I'll share my interpretation of emotional intelligence. Externally, it's about showing empathy and humility. And internally, it's about being self-aware and assumption-driven. First, why does it matter to show empathy and humility? PMs, we drive results through others. We work with engineering and designers to build the product. We partner with marketing, sales, and support to give customer feedback. And that's where product overlap in the middle of 4 circles. Yet we are not the CEOs of the products. It is vital for us to gain alignment on product vision with cross-functional team and establish trust to have a high-performance team. What exactly is humility and empathy? My take on it is a genuine interest and care in other people's perspectives. An example with HelloWorks Builder. Some context, in HelloWorks, it converts this PDF form into this mobile-friendly digital form. And then when all the data are filled, they are mapped back to the PDF. You can probably imagine this process is pretty complex. So we redesigned the editor, the form builder, from this to this, where we show the PDF and the form builder side by side. But there was one problem. We found that a lot of customers are still using the old form builder because of its code editor. In the code editor, there are more flexibility. For advanced user, they can build form much quicker using code. And there are advanced feature that's only available through code editor. But we do want to maintain just one form builder to reduce overhead on support and maintenance. To me, the quickest solution to this problem is just expose the code editor in the new builder to reduce overhead. But engineering pushed back hard. Before I share what we eventually end up with, I want to share some tips, quick actionable tips on being more empathetic. It's important to have this mindset that we argue to clarify, to increase our pool of meanings, to make use of our collective intellect. It is easy to want to argue to win when things get emotional, and that is to be avoided. That's about self-awareness that we'll talk about later. And the approach is we proactively seek other people's facts and their stories. Ideally, we seek their facts and stories first. In practice, it's practicing active listening by mirroring, by paraphrasing, and as many why as it takes to get to their motives. Now let's go back to the HelloWorks form builder example. We ended up with not showing the code editor in the new builder because there were some valid engineering concern with just on the technical side and on scalability. But we still do want to deprecate old editor, old builder. So what we did is we work with customer support. We identified top features that are being used using the code editor, using the JSON code, and we will move them out of the code view. We build the no-code version of those features in the new builder to eventually sunset the old builder. Next, I want to talk about the external expression of emotional intelligence. First, why? We are usually not the users. Sometimes, even when we don't represent 100% of user. We usually represent a single data point as an advanced user. So self-aware, what does it look like? It's a lot like being a scientist, where most ideas are assumptions. And assumptions are validated through data. These data can come from third-party research, personal experience, and product analytics. The product analytics track is the most relevant. Therefore, the importance of running A/B tests in product. And then validated assumptions form hypotheses. And then these hypotheses form strategy, roadmap, and feature requirements. Another HelloWorks example. So as you might know already, how to build a form on HelloWorks, here are the details. To convert a PDF form into digital form, you start by building components and map that components on the PDF. So this is when you first get started. This view is when you first get started, and when you have one component and one field mapped to the PDF. But eventually you want to have 50+ fields and components. You can imagine this is a pretty time-consuming process. What if we build a feature that allows user to create all the form fields with one click, like this? This is an obvious, the value of this feature may be obvious, but there are many underlying assumptions. And I will use one assumption as an example to go through assumption, validation, hypotheses, and solution. The assumption that I'm listing here is creating all the form fields on the PDF is time consuming. And it is validated through product analytics. In product analytics, we saw that the average time between creating a form when they start to finishing that form is more than an hour. So it is pretty time consuming. There are other assumptions that needs to be linked to this one for the hypothesis to work, but for the sake of this talk, I'm only listing one assumption here. Now the hypothesis is if we can automatically create all the form fields for users, then user will create more functional forms. And now, lastly, is the solution. The solution is user can create all the form fields on a PDF with a single click. The result of this feature is very successful. We are seeing a 28% month-over-month growth in successfully creating forms. Now, actionable tips to be more self-aware. The idea of post-mortem, pre-mortem. It's basically to ask the question, how will the project fail? This idea has helped me identify assumptions that I would otherwise view as non-disputable truth. It asks questions such as, do we have the right assumptions? Do we have the right goals? Do we have the right design? Are we scoping the project correctly? And post-release, will we be able to properly support it? There are many articles on how to run an effective pre-mortem session, and which I'm not going into details. So to recap, the emotional intelligence can be expressed externally as empathy and humility, and internally as being self-aware and assumption-driven. Being mindful of emotional intelligence has helped me greatly to learn new knowledge and skill effectively from subject matter experts. Make high quality decisions with a larger pool of meaning by collecting perspective from engineering, design, customer success, and sales and marketing. And this way, by making sure everyone is heard, I'm able to build trusting relationship with design engineering partners. And lastly, with this mindset, using this mindset to talk to user allow me to unearth users' real jobs to be done with the product. This is a bit of a short talk. I hope you find this webinar helpful. I've only scratched the surface here, and here's my contact. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions, comments on today's webinar. Thank you for tuning in.